So first of all, gentlemen, thank you very much for your support today. Great presentations, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I'm going to start up with a very high-level question. Because you've been pre-warned about it, you should be okay, I think. At this present moment, from your own perspectives, what is your biggest development challenge you are witnessing in your broadband networks today? Very high level.
Deploying fiber.
I was hoping for something a little bit more exciting than that. That's the most expensive one as well. So
yeah. Not only. Not only the cost. Fiber is challenging for all the regulation that you have. Even if the European Commission try to reduce the let me say the quantity of paper that you have to create in order to do so, and all the months that you have to spend in order to obtain all the permission from different parties, is a long process. It's not something that. The point is to start, because when you start, then you have a certain basket that you can start to roll out, and then you go proceed. But is to create the basket requires some time. That's true. It's one of the topics, not the only topic, but it's one important topic.
Yeah. Any other major development like keeps you up at night saying, how are we going to solve this? Without giving away any secret information, of course. This is under antitrust.
So, for sure.
You know, yeah.
Right. Is that development only or operating the network?
Operations, development, I'm happy to hear everything.
Okay. So, and this is no exaggeration, right now, security is just very high up there. And we have to think about access networks as probably one of the biggest targets for any of the cybersecurity attacks out there. We are such a big prize for people looking to do that. And at the moment, when you think about, especially for some of us who've got some legacy networks, being able to secure the network and continue to evolve the network whilst keeping it secure is such a very big thing.
And from a wholesale provider, I guess you have even more peering points to worry about the security from as well.
Exactly that. So we have to think about all the different layers of the network, starting all the way from the customer's premises where we're as exposed as possible. But that's probably the easiest point of entry. And then you need to think about all the different layers as you go up. It's not only the right thing to do, and we're doing everything to try and improve the security. But when you think about regions now, like in the United Kingdom, the government's now come up with a legislation, so the Telekom Security Act, that's giving us a code of practice of how we should secure the network. And the reason they're doing this is because what the networks we've built and are running are now termed as critical national infrastructure. And so you can see why they're doing it. And where we need the collaboration from standards, from vendors, is to work together to be able to provide those solutions in a timely manner and deploy them.
Don't get me started on government regulations and are they equipped to ask the right questions?
So maybe adding another thing, which is driving actually my work quite a lot, is our new strategy, which is scale. Very simplified. So we try to simplify and unify the different operations in all the different countries, because it's 10 different ones. It makes you headaches. We are running out of experts. And all of these networks need frequent updates, and much more frequent than in the past. That's part of it, and you need to get the guidance into it, how and where to move. And okay, so scale is really the thing to be. We try to understand where we could scale. So internally, it's also not that easy to just say to find it, because also all these things complement each other. So you have broadband access, you have an IT system which is managing it, which is attached to an orchestration system, which is attached to an OSS system, which is attached to somewhere BSS, and then there are also products. And that is something which is really a challenge to find with scale at the moment.
Vodafone must have a similar problem with, multinational, international company like Deutsche Telekom too.
Yeah, but not only. There is also another problem that is complex according to me at the moment, that is to change your network architecture from what was to become what you want to have. There are a lot of challenges there because you are touching software stacks, and when you go there, is always a complexity because this is involving a lot of teams in an operator. Even more in a big operator like we are here in the table. So changing from current management and OSS stacks to move to the controller, orchestrator, and next generation OSS is really complex stuff to be done. And even if the benefits are clear and tangible as well, there is difficulties to push and to go and so on. There are some reluctance inside the organization from operation because changing for them is always a nightmare to let me say to learn new things and how to manage and so on. There is challenges on the budget because someone in finance is asking why you have to spend something for something that you are already doing today. And so it's becoming a little bit a challenge to move from away. And but sooner or later you have to go there. I think that all operators have to go there.
And do you think that there is a tipping point or a catalyst that you're waiting for to say, hold on, it now makes complete sense. We have to move it with all velocity?
According to me, is to when we move in order to move to full autonomous network, for probably you are obliged to have the new stack. Because with the old one, probably you can do something. You can probably do partial. You can do zero touch provisioning. You can do something, but complete autonomous network will become difficult because you have to rely on proprietary interfaces. While if you are moving there, you can implement open interface, intent-based interfaces that will simplify a lot. Probably the road to full autonomous network will require the new stack.
I couldn't agree more with Bruno there because often at times the conversations you have is it's the right technological thing to do. But from the CFO and the product manager's point of view, one of them's worried about the money and the other one's worried about what date can I get my product. So you're always having to balance all of these things up. So where we've seen some movement is introduction or movement to new technologies, where we've gotten an opportunity to basically start some, it may not be an end-to-end stack, but something a bit transformative introduced to the network that then can cause some of these people to see some of those values or the benefits of doing some of those things a bit more clearly and then slowly move across. But without a doubt, it's a very complicated thing to do when you're operating a very large-scale network.
I won't name names, but I was having a really good conversation with a tier 1 operator last year, and they said COVID put them back 4 to 5 years because they had to deploy more BNGs really rapidly on the old proven platforms. So their plans to move to an SDN NFV network were actually delayed by 4 to 5 years because they had to deploy quickly during the BNG issues in COVID, which I thought makes sense, but it's also counterintuitive as well.
Yeah.
Any questions from the audience or any comments from the audience of what's keeping you up at night or your plans? Oh, you're a shy lot, aren't you?
Mm.
So I'm gonna ask a question because that's my job and none of you will. Big data. You know, if you're talking AI, and we've talked a lot about AI over the last day and week, but AI is only going to be as good as your data. So what does big data mean to you? And will you just keep your own, or will you ever share it in a secure, anonymous manner? I told you there'll be some difficult questions.
I'll start whilst.
Please, Rodger.
So, without a doubt, operating such a big network, having the right insights in the network performance and the service performance is as important, and it's becoming more and more important. I think I go back to a talk that our CEO was giving us about 6 months ago, and he basically receives a lot of email from customers complaining about. It's usually, customers usually email when they're complaining, not when they're thanking you. So it's customers complaining about their broadband service being down. And he was basically saying that a few years ago, it would take customers their broadband service being down for a few days before they emailed him very angry that it's taken that long for Openreach to do something about it. These days, it takes hours before they're emailing the CEO. And the point he was trying to make is that's how important the service that we are providing has become to people. So it was a good articulation of how important the service that we are providing has become to people. And whether that's because their homes are smart or they're working from home, whatever it is, it's that important that they care about it that much. He did add on that he wishes they could pay more for it, but that's a different conversation, right? But in order for us to provide a better customer experience and to assure the network better, we need the data. And so one of the key things that we're working on right now is how can we collect all the data that we need from the network to have the best insights into the performance of a network and the different subscribers lines. And we need to do that in an almost near real-time manner so that we can then get that data to the right upstream positions so that we can make the right decisions. And that means having that big data is going to allow us to do that so that we can react quicker. But also, we know that by getting that big data, we can actually do the long-term trend analysis to learn more about the network and even improve how better we can be predicting certain things happening and doing something about them before they happen. And the net gain is still a better customer experience, better insights into our network. So we are on that journey of trying to do that. And whilst we're doing that, we're also trying to work out what's the best way we can share some of these data and insights with our customers who are the retail service providers.
You can tell they're looking at each other saying you first, and they were.
No. So first of all, I'm not the expert on neither AI nor big data. That's one of the things. Haven't looked too much into it. So this means I cannot. This is not official DT statement, just for the records. When I look into our operation in Germany, for example, we are winning frequently all possible tests, or close to. Sorry if there's some Vodafone or somebody who also wins something sometime. So it must be quite good, but I don't know if my CEO gets emails from customers. This doesn't end up at my desk. Where's the operation guy? I'm quite sure that we will collect more data for operations, but the other thing that I believe is that that's more important is to get business intelligence out of it, to understand better what customers want and how they want it, and maybe even not only improve their service, but maybe sell them something which they don't know that they really needed it already. That is where big data most probably plays a bigger role. I have no idea how we're going to implement that. Big data always means lots of storage somewhere, but we will have to do that. I believe it will come at some day together with AI and all the things that we do in Cloud CO. I'm really after that. It's just that I'm still at the point to understand really what we are getting out of it. That's the thing. And most probably all the things that Rodger mentioned, quite sure there is something in just getting there and what is really the delta that I get.
Okay, that's to me. Regarding big data has a lot of challenges. First of all, is the cost of storage. And this is a point that when you are an operator with where we are bigger customer means terabytes of data every day.
Every second.
So that's is really a big issue that you have to counter. A second issue is an internal organization. Sometimes it will happen that each team wants to monitor its own data and have their own data and to collect their own data and to store their own data. That sometimes is overlapping with other things. So we sometimes are collecting the same data a lot of times. And that's make a problem in terms of cost of storage, obviously, first of all. The second one is also related that sometimes we create problem on the network element because it's sending a lot of time the same data. So there are a lot of things that also from the organizational point of view, operators need to do in order to optimize this part. And also to understand which data, first of all, and which frequency. That is really important because monitoring the temperature of the equipment and monitoring the traffic has two different frequencies needed. Obviously, that temperature can be more relaxed and you can collect also every hour, for example. Collecting traffic you need to do every second. That's make a difference. So there is. I think that we need to create a mindset inside the organization that will unify the collection, have the right collection, have the right frequency collection, and then to have also a right training for all the tools that you want to have, because it doesn't make any sense to have data that are 10 years ago that will not have any value. At a certain point, you need to remove it. And then in order to onboard the new one. And any algorithm will use the new data in order to improve to improve the results. So that's all the things that, according to me, needs to be done for big data.
There was a second part. There was a second part to your question, and that is, would we make something available? And I think yes, we have to. One of the good things that we did past in the days as the SDN was that we brought the local university together with our network and say we have very difficult privacy laws in Germany. So that's we really have to anonymize data, and this also meant that, for example, back in the days there was lots of unencrypted traffic still. So we had to, for example, try to find all the passwords customers were putting into the data. If you want to share it, it's quite simple. Today, that's mostly gone, but still, you have to search it when you want to make this available. I believe that, or I really think that, especially for research, and that people can start playing around and learning about AI and big data and all that other stuff, we really need to bring something available. It's a really good point. Not sure how we create this data, if it's really a dump of a network or something, or it's synthesized some things. But it's definitely a good point for all this stuff.
It's not as easy as just sharing data.
No.
It's you've got to make sure that you're looking at like-for-like data, geographics, demographies, the right time of day captures, etc., so that, and then you've got legal issues. That's going to be one of the great hurdles we're going to look at to say, you know, what does Vodafone legal department willing to share versus Deutsche Telekom's versus Openreach versus the government requirements? There's going to be a lot of interesting, but I think there seems to be a hunger that if we can solve it and it is like for like and usable, then there is a general acceptance that it's a good thing. Any comments, any thoughts from the audience? I'm going to keep trying. You know, I'm going to keep trying.
Yes, so I have a question not related to data, but to what Roger said earlier about the criticality of the service. So we have heard lots of things about the speeds improvements, but that makes the service even more critical. And is there, I have a use case, I don't know how relevant it is, but if you consider people working from home that consider that their access is super important, maybe there are people who would be more interested into having two independent 100 megabits per second lines and not one single 1 gigabit per second line. And I was wondering, is that something that's in the air for ISPs or just in my mind?
Go to one of our shops and order it.
I mean, if in the end the two wires end up in the same point 50 meters away, it doesn't make sense. That's also the...
For sure, but same answer. You have to have enough money in your pocket, and then it's not a problem. We have this service, so it's really available. But I personally would believe that this is more going into the direction that you have a fixed line and a mobile line, or some wireless satellite, whatever else line as a backup or as a primary or a shared, or that's what I would believe is going to be the future.
The greatest thing that the devil ever did was make people believe that he didn't exist. And what fixed has done very, very well is taught the subscriber that the connection is the service, when that doesn't have to be the case. There's multiple subscribers behind the CPE. There's multiple chances to resell that service, just like mobile does. If I have a containerized CPE, there's no reasons why I can't have, and I'm not saying service providers are doing this, but there's no reasons why, you know, I can't have two different profiles on the same CPE and offer two different charges. The connection and speed is not the issue. It's the management of the service. And sorry, I'm just a broadband forum standards guy, but I know it's possible.
I think the key answer is what Mario's just said there. What we seem to be seeing service providers doing is providing a backup, which is going to be over mobile, yeah, rather than selling you two different lines. But nonetheless, because of everything that I've talked about, there is an emphasis of trying to build as much resilience across the path. Now, that can only go so far, right? If it's your fiber that's been cut, then you're going to have to wait for someone to turn up. But, you know, within the architecture of the, you know, the equipment that we're putting in the central office, you're seeing a lot more resilience than we probably had before. And that's all intended to try and make that as resilient as possible.
Yeah, I think that you already say everything more or less. I don't have a lot to say, but yeah, for sure. And there is another point to be considered, that it depends also from the customers, because there are customers that they are not really looking at resilience because they are quite fine with that. Even if they are some hours out, they don't see any problem on that. But there are others, for example, if you are working from home, or if you have a APTV in the evening, that is the only service that you have, that's probably become more important, that your services will have 24 hours and 7 days to be available. And as mentioned by Roger, that the point, there are solutions that can be implemented in the sense that you can have mobile stick inside your CPE. You can have an app that will implement in order to connect to your mobile phone and then to create a backup by using your mobile phone. There are a lot of solutions that you can implement in order to make it available. And also from the price cost perspective, because if you use this type of solution, then obviously the mobile data should be at least cheaper or not impacting your quota, because otherwise will become difficult. But this is more or less solutions that you can implement.
So let's try to get the discussion going, and if I may a bit ask a challenging, if not provocative question. So do you share, let's say, like a feeling I have is that you as, let's say, like a broadband telcos, how would you I'm going back to these autonomous networks. You made the reference, and you need to redo the OS stack and everything. I have a bit of feeling that the broadband domain is a bit not so mature as other domains, namely wireless. Do you agree that basically, if you compare to the let's say the other services and other domains within telcos, so how topical the autonomous network journey actually is for you, and where's the starting point? And if it is, let's say, topical to you at all, and if it is topical, so how do you see the journey? So where do you start with, and what are the challenges and the first things you wanna, let's say, like improve and build the tomorrow's broadband in place?
So I'm not too sure whether you were around when I did my presentation, but I was kind of clear of where we were or where we're coming from, and with basically little to no autonomy at all. Where we've gotten to, where we're starting to implement some policy-based SDN management and control, and that's providing value. It's helping, so much so that it's quite clear to me, and that's why I put it in the slide, that where we probably want to end up is where we've got true autonomous networks. And the reason for that is multifaceted, right? We are, especially when you're working at this kind of scale, what you want is for things to always happen correctly with as little to no fallout, whether you're provisioning the network, whether you're repairing the network, and we can see that autonomous networks is probably where we need to end up in order to make that sustainable. The other reason for it, and I did want to bring it up earlier on when you asked what are the things that are actually keeping us awake, it's the network operations center for Openreach is very critical to us, because that's how we operate the network. That's how we fix things when they do not go wrong. And believe me, they do. But the skills gap in that center is constantly just increasing. The people that knew what to do are constantly leaving, and the people who are coming in, you don't have the same knowledge, the same history, and the same skill set. So there is a desire to try and simplify how the operation of the network is happening. And I think autonomous networks is definitely a way of getting there. Now, we have a long way to go, in the sense that I don't think, and I think Kut's presentation and your presentation was the real definition of it. For a long time, we're going to need a man in the middle to basically look after what decisions are being decided before they can get implemented. So that's definitely going to be a stepping stone. But where we would like to go is to take away people from sitting at desks, using their energy and time to that, to actually contributing knowledge that's going to be used in autonomous networks.
Thanks. Yes, and I saw your presentation, so it was really good.
Yeah, there is one point to be added. What Rodger said, that it's true that the skills that you will need with autonomous network from the major part of the people is lower. but you need some people that are very, very expert on networks and on AI, on both. Because if you are not expert on both, you cannot understand what's going on. The risk that we have today is that we have AI expert and network expert, and they are not talking each other. And then at the end, the autonomous network will become difficult to be managed. You need skills, person that have both skills.
Along that theme, are there services that you believe adding autonomy to the network, there are services that will be enabled that aren't possible now with the human intervention because it's just too costly to make the service profitable. So a service might not happen because, you know, operationally it's just too expensive. But if you can automate some of those functions, suddenly you can offer things that weren't practical before. Is that, do you envision some services like that?
Sincerely speaking, I haven't found something like that at the moment. It's something that
The killer services for autonomous networks.
can be probably possible, sincerely speaking. Can be that the autonomous network can be an enabler for new type of services in future. At the moment, I haven't thought about that, and I don't have any idea, but can be. I don't know if see Rodger and Mario have different approach, but could be possible.
Well, Bruno, are you thinking of something that an autonomous network implements own products and offers it to the customer without knowledge of anybody approving it?
That's a good question as well. I'm just saying that could be possible. I don't say that will be. Could be probably possible, can be possible, but at the moment I haven't found about it, so I don't have any idea.
I think the only thing that comes close, and I don't think it's because it's not possible, but it's the delay caused by how quickly we get the information, analyze it, and make a decision. Sometimes the opportunity for doing something about it has passed by then. And this is usually to do with things like us either reacting to contention in the network and things of the sort. That's probably the fast opportunity that I would see there. It's not, you know, selling new services. It's just more reacting to a behavior in the network, in adjusting what service the customer is getting.
The only thing that strikes me, and I'm just hypothesizing here, is edge compute, and where there's suddenly a spike in needs, maybe a QOE requirement, or this new online VR gaming has happened, that the autonomous network can recognize that and meet and put resources down to the edge compute level where it has been containerized centrally. But I'm hypothesizing.
So just a quick follow-up question, if you don't mind. So coming back to this maturity, so this level 0 to 5, have you tried to, let's say, like deploy and test your maturity level, deploy the model in your operations for fixed access, and if you have any findings or, let's say, conclusions you can share?
I didn't completely understand which system or type of system.
So basically, in autonomous networks, there's like a maturity level from 0 to manual to 5 fully autonomous networks.
Yeah.
So have you tried to apply this level evaluation in your domains? And if you did, anything you can share?
Yeah. So we did across the different parts of deployment and network types. If I'm not mistaken, we believe we are beyond step 2 and on the road to 3. But a bit difficult. It depends what you're looking after. So it's a single system, or maybe we hold broadband access, and then we have the different things from provisioning to fulfillment to assurance so for the different phases it differs over the time of a level. So it's somewhere in this area. It's quite similar to what was presented by Nokia in the presentation. So yeah, we are somewhere with fixed networks, somewhere in 2 to 3 somehow. So it's not that the system is generating own answers and doing something. But it's closed, some kind of closed loop automation doing things in failure cases which are pre-implemented already for most of the things. But lots of things you can't do anything against it. If some hardware breaks, which is only one there, well, doesn't help.
No, this is open loop.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. It's no.
And that's the same answer, somewhere between 2 and 3 on the journey on 3. And because we've still got these silos across the network, so we're at different levels for the different silos as well.
Yeah, that's correct. The point at the moment, operators, as far as my understanding, are more or less having different level in the different type of the process. So fulfillment, probably you are more advanced, and assurance, you still working and trying to work on that. But we cannot say that where we are today in the entire network, because depends what you're looking for from the different type of processes and where AI can be applied. For example, also in marketing can be applied AI. So that's another part where, for example, we already little bit in design is already something that you are implementing today, but that's a different level where for the different type of the processes you are there.
And it's maybe to add to this, it's interesting what's possible. So it's not fixed networks, but in mobile networks, colleagues of mine have developed something which is somewhere level 4 or something. It's optimize. It's analyzing problem congestion in the network, and it's independent. It's independently in a certain range changing the network configuration of base station. If you're interested, it's somewhere an MWC thing of Deutsche Telekom. It's based on a couple of agents who independently work together, AI agent systems. And it's quite fascinating because it's involving a couple of legacy systems. And one of the biggest challenges I normally see is that IT legacy systems or management systems are a problem to replace easily. Yes, some protocols and data models, all that stuff that is quite tightly done. But they trained it quite a lot to get clear with these or get used to these things. But it was really interesting to see that they really get it with a couple of agents working, that it's reacting to overload situations.
Time has come and got the better of us. But Mario,
Thank you.
Mario, Rodger, Bruno, thank you very much. And thank you for your questions. I hope you've enjoyed day 1. Day 2 kicks off at what time, Tiff? 8 o'clock again. So that's why we've limited to just 2 beers for each of you tonight. But just as a friendly reminder, for those that have registered, we're meeting down at the registration area just outside here at 6:25 to leave for 6:30. So we'll be leaving, if you want to walk with us, at 6:30 from downstairs here. Thanks very much for today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.